This is written to the Concord Monitor, and it's regarding Matt Murray's opinion piece titled "Don't Fall into Traps Set by Free Staters," which was an editorial piece that the Concord Monitor ran back in July on the 19th.
And that was about what? Free Staters running as something other than...
Right. This was somebody who works for a union organization in New Hampshire who is saying how terrible Free State Project participants are and how they're running for Republican and Democratic seats, and you need to be aware because if these people get elected, it's going to destroy New Hampshire.
They're coming here to take over our state, says a person who works for a union organization in a state that's right to work. Okay.
Yep.
Wants to change. Everybody wants to change state laws is my point here. And it's a problem because, free staters move to the state for the express purpose as opposed to moving to the state and then getting involved in their local government. Like, I don't know. I mean, it just seems to be all an issue of posturing.
As any educated New Hampshire native would know, in their advocacy for limited and non-intrusive government, Free Staters are doing no more than espousing and acting upon the same ideas having to do with freedom and liberty as Josiah Bartlett, William Whipple, Matthew Thornton, John Langdon, John Stark, and so many other New Hampshire Revolutionary War heroes. That in this day and age, Murray, the original author of the critical article, would find these ideas foreign, says all that needs to be said about America's left and its own plans for New Hampshire's future. Free state advocacy on behalf of individual freedom and liberty is benign in comparison to that of the 400 men who, after having been warned by Paul Revere that the British were coming to seize powder and arms stored at Fort William and Mary in Newcastle, gathered there on December 14, 1774 to capture the fort, remove its military stores, and then hide them throughout the countryside. A bit over a year later, in January 1776, New Hampshire declared its independence from Great Britain 6 months before the signing of the American Declaration of Independence. New Hampshire has a proud and profound history with regard to advocating and acting on behalf of principles having to do with freedom and liberty. Free Staters have embraced our history. We should be happy that they're here because they find New Hampshire still worthy of love and effort.
Well,
That's
New
Paul
Hampshire,
Mirsky from Enfield who wrote that.
Then that's awesome. By the way, I didn't realize it was from Paul Mirsky.
You know who that is?
Yeah,
I've never heard of him.
Paul Mirsky is involved in the Republican Liberty Caucus, and I think and also is on the Republican Party's board that comes up with the
executive committee or something.
Yeah, whatever the party platforms are. People vote on that and vote yes or no. I mean, I take what that man says very seriously, but I think he's absolutely right. Now, people from the right oftentimes dislike Free Staters too because they say we're too far left, and people on both sides of the aisle have their agreements and disagreements with the ideas of some of the people in the Free State Project. But I think that he's absolutely right that the fact is that New Hampshire is the freest state in the Union. If you
arguably,
well, if you match up, I think there's certainly an argument for other states, but at this point, if you match up who's won or been number one on Mercatus Center's lists, I think it's 3 out of 5 times New Hampshire's been number one. It's always been in the top 5.
It's number 4 right now, though.
Number 4, indeed. But one of the states that's in the top 5 is also in the most corrupt list of most corrupt governments. So I think that they deserve a little, boot out of the top 5 for that very fact. You have more access to government in New Hampshire than you do in other states, and this is. There are so many places for the people on the right or the left to get access to their government and get what they want.
More access to government sounds kind of weird. What you mean by that is you can actually talk to the state reps. They're accessible. I don't want to have a bunch of access to government where I see government everywhere. And in point of fact, New Hampshire has a very low governmental burden. The ratio of governmental workers or employees to productive people is lower than I think most every other state.
I appreciate this author's sentiment. When I moved to New Hampshire as part of the Free State Project, I first lived with a local who had been here all her life. And she had no problems with me being a part of the Free State Project or having strong political opinions one way or another, and even said, that's great. That's what this place is for. You'll see more arguments in New Hampshire about politics than any other place, and then we'll go out for coffee. because we all get along and we
Yep.
can have disagreements, and this is the place for that.
If
And New
only
Hampshire,
it were so.
and New Hampshire wouldn't even be on my map if it weren't for the freedom aspect here.
Sure.
It's cold sometimes, and
It ain't Key West, is it, Derek?
no, and right, yeah, it's not got the most of the things that I would look for in a place to settle, like a big urban environment, a big gay population, lots of roads. There's like a lot of mountainous areas here that I'm not for. But hey, it's got freedom, and
that's important to you.
That's important.
But it's not important to Ed Lake. Ed Lake is the other letter writer here that I wanted to share, and this letter is not so nice. This was written to the Keene Sentinel. It's entitled, "I'm a Lover, Not a Hater," by Ed Lake. An open letter to Mr. Swearingen. That's Varen Swearingen, the former president of the Free State Project, who has his own blog called Varen's World, and he's written recently about the Stop Free Keene group. There's this group of people who've sprung up over the last year to stop a website. What they really want to do is they want to stop activism, and they believe that freekeene.com sort of is a representation of the activism.
They want people to shut up.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
Calling Stop Free Keene. So he's open letter to Varen, Free State Project, and Free Keene. Calling Stop Free Keene a hate group is a very misleading statement, says Ed Lake. Now, I have called them haters. In fact, if you go to haters.freekeene.com, it'll take you straight to their Facebook group. And the reason I use that term is because that's the feeling I get when I read their group. I feel a lot of anger. I feel a lot of hatred coming from a lot of the people there. Now,
There's nothing constructive there. You see, the idea that he claiming to be a lover, not a hater, there's nothing constructive that I have seen yet. These people do not want to communicate.
Most of them do not.
They want nothing to do with constructive criticism.
Most of them do not. Again, I'm not calling all of them haters. Only the ones that are the loud, angry ones who are the majority of the group. I mean, the ones who are noticeable. The leaders of the group are not nice people. They have not been friendly.
It's not difficult at all to get a hold of the Free Keene folks if you want to give constructive criticism. I've
invited them. I said, I'll take you out to coffee. Let's have a chat. Let's talk about this. What are the concerns?
They've got all the times in the world for complaining on Facebook about the group. They have no time for coffee.
Calling Stop Free Keene a hate group is a very misleading statement, he says. The group as a whole does not promote violence. We are very opposed to having our homes and state that we love and support taken away and forcefully changed to suit their needs by
Our homes taken away?
We're taking their houses.
What?
How many people in the city of Keene or the surrounding Cheshire area have had their houses taken away from them by Free Staters? Oh, by the government? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But, we're here to try to help stand against the government. But no, this guy's complaining about their houses being taken away.
All right, well, he also doesn't want his state to be taken away, and he comes back to that point here in a moment. This is Free Talk Live. He might work for the state. Who knows? We don't know anything about him. It's Free Talk
Live. He's not king.
More of his letter coming up next. Yes, the haters, they are going to hate. At least if you do things that are worth hating, that are worth having an opinion about. And that's something that we do very well here in New Hampshire, especially in the Keene area. Mm-hmm. We do things. And when you do things, whatever those things are, there are going to be people who are upset by them. For instance, even people within our own movement. A lot of times the activism that we do here, and again, check out freestateproject.org and come join us if you love freedom. But a lot of the times the things we do here are controversial. I actually had a guy who was from New York come up to the fair outreach booth that I was doing this weekend. Mm-hmm. And he said he works for John Stossel. He's one of John Stossel's producers or writers or something like that. And I said, well, have you seen this movie? Or he actually, I don't think I even asked him. I think he pointed out your movie, Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree, which you can watch for free at victimlesscrimespree.com. He gave me some unsolicited feedback about the movie because he works in the business, right? Like he's a movie guy or, works in television.
Yeah.
And so he said that he thought the movie did not do good things for freedom, and he specifically cited the crossing guard scene, which of course is one of the most controversial things apparently that we've ever filmed.
Which takes about less than a minute of the movie.
Yeah, maybe a minute or two. And the crossing guard scene involves an old lady who you said hello to while you were recording some B-roll.
How dare I say hello to a woman?
You're in public, on a public sidewalk, and she turns around and yells, "No!" and hit you with the stop sign that she was holding in her hands.
Yes.
And then the rest of the video is us kind of asking her, hey, saying things like, that's not very nice. You shouldn't be doing that. You're a public servant. You're not supposed to behave that way, trying to hold her accountable for what she did.
But she's too old to be held accountable, Ian.
People hate that video. So anyway, he gave me that feedback. And so I told him, well, look, I appreciate where you're coming from. First of all, you're wrong.
Well, the first thing I think is most important to lay out to somebody who has a problem with that is that Derek J was trying to video B-roll.
I laid it out for him.
Like, this is really important. Look, all I was trying to do was get some video of some kids being helped across the street by a crossing guard to use to use as B-roll. This was not me trying to do some kind of activism against school crossing guards. This woman,
I explained
or
that
anything.
to him. I explained that to him, and he thought that we were just haranguing this woman just for the hell of it.
She hit somebody with a stop sign.
I explained that to him.
She didn't get harangued until the stop sign striking.
I know. I explained that to him, and I pointed out to him, look, he said hello to her. That was the first thing that happened. And he said, well, that's not what I saw. And I said to him,
then you saw something entirely different.
I said, please watch it again, because that's what happened. Anyway, just as an example, I told him my perspective on this is it did do good things for freedom, because there are people who've come to New Hampshire who've specifically told you and I, Derek J., that movie, Victimless Crime Spree, was their sort of moment of truth, the sort of the straw that broke the camel's back, the motivating factor for them to make the move. Other people have said it was the first thing they ever heard about the movement in New Hampshire, and then something else kind of closed the deal later. So it was either their introduction to what's happening here or the deal closer, it seems like. And so from my perspective, the movie's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's attracting the right kind of people here. And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier of approval seeking. I'm not here to seek people's approval.
Right.
I'm here
I'm
here to do activism. And when you do activism, no matter what it is, as soon as it becomes effective, even if it's just politics, running for office. As soon as a politician, if you propose repealing some beloved government program, those people are going to come out in the streets and oppose you with virulent lies and all kinds of misinformation. So anyway, back to the letter to the editor here from Ed Lake, one of the members of the Stop Free Keene Facebook group. He claims he's not a hater. He says, yes, many of us hate this invasion by outsiders. And he puts hate in quotes. But it doesn't make us a hate group. There may have been individual group members who may have said hateful things or seemed to promote using something that may be considered hateful or violent to rid us of Free Keene, but it should not represent us as a whole. In fact, many members of the Free State Project use that same explanation about Free Keene. Many have said the Free State Project as a whole does not approve of or support Free Keene's tactics against us natives. By the way, just to be clear, I know I always have to keep making this clarification, Free Keene doesn't have tactics. It's a website. If it has a tactic, it's to put posts online so you can read them. Free Keene is a place where you can see what's happening in the activism movement, and there's a wide variety of tactics within that activism movement, and we do our best at Free Keene to report on as much of it as possible. Anyway, going on here, but they use Free Keene as this sort of group to put us all in the same group together. But he's right about the point that everybody's individuals, right? Like, we should judge people based on individually what it is that they say. And there are a lot of people who express a lot of hate within the Stop Free Keene group. Going on. He says the tactics against us natives, as the two groups have labeled us, the citizens of the state of New Hampshire, and that Free Keene's hostile invasion of our home should not be lumped in with the Free State Project as a whole. How in the world can you expect citizens of New Hampshire to willingly accept a group of outsiders moving into our state, not to enjoy and love it for what we have built, but to tell us we are freedom haters, slaves to a state, and how we have made a state that is so wrong in your opinions?
No one says that. Okay, so maybe some people do say that, but
Adamo uses the term slaves to describe people.
The Free State Project doesn't say that. So this is the point that I'm trying to make is that he's making the claim that the Free State Project says that it doesn't. The Free State Project is a project where people can move to New Hampshire in order to work for more liberty.
He's not saying the Free State Project has said that. He's talking about some of the members from which he has received, he's seen messages about slaves. I've seen Adamo Freeman posting about how people are slaves if they're kind of still stuck inside the system.
Yes, but he's saying that how can we separate Free State Project from that?
I don't understand where you're
Read the sentence.
I don't know which sentence.
Start
you're
at the beginning of the sentence you were just on.
How can expect New Hampshire to accept a group of outsiders telling us we're freedom haters, slaves to a state, and how we've made a state that's so wrong in your opinions? There are people who are upset about the state, but I think one of the confusions that Ed has here is that I think he's confusing the ground, the mountains, the sky, the place where we live, which is a very beautiful place and filled with wonderful people, with the state, which is, a group of criminals.
Yes, that's probably the difference. He's not making that distinction.
Right.
Well, he doesn't think there is a distinction. He believes that the government of New Hampshire is the people of New Hampshire.
I don't know what he believes because I haven't asked him that.
But everybody knows that states always change borders, that they weren't originally the way they were formed, and countries do this too. So he must recognize that it's not the land.
Let me keep going here, guys. Your group may have converted a very small few state residents to your takeover, but I'm very safe in saying it's nowhere near a large enough percentage to matter. I read about and learned about the Free State Project many years ago, and nothing about it interested me. I came to the conclusion it would fail, and it wasn't worth my time thinking about.
Guess you're wrong about that, buddy.
This utopia you people describe as an impossible dream that will always fail if we ever really want to have...
You and your impossible dreams!
Is he just asserting this?
Yes, if we really want to have a peaceful and civilized society. But after dealing with the hostile, entitled, lazy, tax-dodging, and anti-community members of Free Keene directly in my home, then you must add the whole idea.
It's like we're Girl Scouts and we've run off and knocked at his door.
Then you must add the whole idea of them and the Free State Project talking about succeeding, he means seceding, from our great nation. I can no longer ignore Free Keene or the Free State Project. I consider most of you no different than invading terrorists or some type of cult.
Wow.
He absolutely believes that. There are lots of people that believe that. The fact is if you're advocating for smaller, more accountable government, there will always be people that do want the government accountable to them and want it to be larger.
I never understood until recently why the Free State Project didn't just buy an island or thousands of acres
There are no islands
of uninhabited land somewhere where they would not have to take a way of life away from happy citizens,
okay,
and then attempt to build their attempt to build their utopia. But as I have concluded, they need our infrastructure that was built with the sweat and tax dollars of others, and that is why I truly believe they need to try to take our state away from us. Their utopia would have no roads, bridges, power grid, public water and sewer, schools, parks, and all the other things they want to take from us, the natives of this state. Have I come to hate the ideas of Free Keene and the Free State Project? Yes. Does that make me a hater? I don't think so. In fact, I'm a lover. I love my state, and I do not wish to see some outside force take it away from me, my family, or my neighbors. Ed Lake from Oswego.
When I hear someone say, I love my state, it literally sounds to me like someone saying, I love my chains.
Yeah, I love my government. But is that what he means when he says the state?
No.
He's one of those, you didn't build that kind of thing. You remember when Barack Obama got all the trouble for saying you didn't build that? That's saying that, that we stand on the shoulders of generations in the past. I think that that's absolutely true. But the fact that the government has claimed for itself a monopoly in so many areas doesn't mean that we couldn't have succeeded without a monopoly in those areas. I would be happy to move. Please tell me where this unoccupied island is that has no governmental influence, that I can go and start my utopia from the dirt up.
On the moon.
Please, let me know. I'll move there.
So there you go. You're going to upset people when you make an impact, and there's no denying the Free State Project is controversial and making an impact. If you want to have that impact, go to freestateproject.org. Join us up here. You can't do activism successfully without rocking the boat. You just can't do it. See you tomorrow.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.